live from North Ipswich Reserve. We're with you for a fantastic round 10 clash between the Central Queensland Capras and the Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets. Great to have you with us on Phoenix Radio, phoenix.com.au. Smith somehow right down the eastern touchline, 12-4 the score. Well, the first attacking opportunity the Capras had.
Hello and welcome to another After the 80. I'm your host Ben Wilmott. Joining me this week is Anthony Bomber Breeze. Welcome back, Bomber.
No, it's good to be back again. Some good football. The IRL getting down to the nitty-gritties before semi-finals. The Jets an unfortunate loss, but hope to regroup. And so a lot of good football coming ahead.
And plenty of big action in the IRL as well. And joining us on the panel to talk about it is Ipswich Diggers under-20s coach Jae Woodward.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me back again.
No worries. We're always happy to have you on the board. Now, well, round 15 of the IRL kicked off on Saturday night with the West End Bulldogs unfortunately going down to the Goodna Eagles 30-10. At the same time, over at Brothers Siri Oval, Brothers Ipswich thrash Norths Tigers 60-16. Bomber, what went wrong for the Norths? Well,
obviously, as you can see by the score, the scoreboard is what probably went wrong for them. but obviously, Brothers there, they're a well-oiled unit at the moment there. They've got attacking weapons through the forwards, punch hard through the forwards, and their backs through the young fella out in the centre, Lawyer and all that there, and just starting to carve teams up. So
taking full advantage of that home ground advantage as well.
Yeah, well, obviously that's about 4 home games in a row now, and they've had 4 reasonably good wins at home. So so they move away this week. But anyway, they roll along nicely, so very nicely.
I was looking at the score sheet and it seemed like most of their forwards were the ones picking up the tries as well. There was Jack Botcher got himself a double, and there was a couple across the team list there. So the big forwards moving forward?
Yeah, well, North's forward pack has probably been their weakness this year, and I think Brothers must have worked out how to exploit it.
Yep, just hit up through the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Well, we've got some highlights from the weekend's game as well, and unfortunately not one that Nobby will be looking forward to.
No, well, obviously I don't know whether he'll be watching the show this week there, or he might be watching this next couple of minutes anyway there. So
there's Jake O'Doherty crashing over, and he's just celebrating a fantastic form this year, isn't he?
Well, the last couple of weeks there, he's probably been the number one prop in the competition there. He does all the tough stuff up the middle and all that there, and the rest of the forwards just seem to be running behind him. So
Jack Botcher there as well. If you're having to worry so much about Jake with his offloading skills and having to get 3 players into a tackle to stop him that close to the line, he really opens up space around him, doesn't he?
Oh, well, that's it there. When you get the big ones there that you have to try and put that extra player on too, well, obviously somebody's got no player on, so then they zip it out quick to the backs, and then there's an overlap. And
he can slip that ball even with 3 players on him, so he just gets that ball away.
If he can knock Ramon on his back, I've seen him put quite a few of the biggest forwards I've seen in the competition straight backwards. He's not afraid to line up against the biggest guys on the pitch, is he?
No, he goes in low, goes in hard, has good technique, and puts them on their backs.
Does that put Brothers in a pretty dangerous position here at the top of the table as well, with such a good roll on at this point of the year?
Well, it's hard to turn momentum, and they've got the momentum at the moment. They're the form team in the comp. Goodness on their backs, and there's probably a gap between the rest of them.
Yeah. And what about Norths as well? I mean, that does put them a bit further down on the ladder as well. I think they're 1 point off the bottom. It's still a chance to make it over Swifts at the moment.
All 6 sides are mathematical chance of making it, but at this stage I couldn't see too many trouble in probably the top 3 to win the grand final.
Well, Norths will have a tough run home as well, especially I don't know if there's any too many more troops returning to the pitch for them at the end of the year at the moment.
No, I think that's the team they'll probably have to play with for the rest of the year there. So hopefully we can dig in there. Like the 18 teams at this time of the year just throw it in. So hopefully, because you're still wearing the jersey from your club there, and you don't want to be disappointing fans and all that there. So.
Well, it's been a little bit of a fall from grace considering where they finished the season last year, but definitely a rebuilding year for them at the club.
Yeah, well, if you go through their teams there, I'm sure a lot of people probably couldn't even name a lot of their players now. They've got a lot of young players there, which are obviously going to be good for the experience there, and hopefully they hang around the Den there next year, and they'll be a lot better players next year. So
Yeah, better for the experience, that's for sure. Well, another high-scoring match at Llewellyn Motorsfield with Fassfern taking a 32-18 win over the Swifts Bluebirds on Sunday, and it was a great game to get down there as well. Fassfern, without their biggest strike weapon, still pulled out some big points.
Yeah, well, the Mossby boys worked down that one side of the field and worked Swifts over from what I've seen. So,
Well, luckily enough, we've got some great footage, and Fassfern were kind enough to score most of their tries right in front of our camera on the day as well.
yeah, well, it did start off. The game seemed to be a seesaw and affair there until Swifts made an attacking raid, and obviously it was intercepted by Bernard here, and he runs 90 metres and try time. That was followed up about 2 minutes later by a try to Harold. So score could have been favouring Swifts. It could have been 16-10 to Swifts, and all of a sudden it's 22-10 to Fassfern.
It's a bit hard to see on that footage there, but the intercept that does come there, if the pass actually sticks for Swifts, there was a free man on the right edge that was going over for all money.
Yeah, well, that's it. They were attacking hard down that way, and I think Bernard had to go for it because, and unfortunately,
it was a risky play for a young player.
Swifts got it and raced away. So
yeah. Good to see a young player like that playing with some confidence, though, to go for an intercept like that and get the biscuits.
yeah, definitely. A pity he didn't. He broke his hand at the start of the year, and I didn't get him in my 20s. But he played for me last year, and he's definitely a talent. And he's come over to play alongside his older brother, and Fassfern are getting rewards for it.
He's only a very shy guy, isn't he? He doesn't say too many words, but he leaves us talking to the pitch.
Very, very quiet. He played halfback last year, and I had to rely on the other half to do all the organising, but he can definitely play footy and play what's in front of him.
He's got a turn of speed as well.
He does.
Well, it's good to see him having so much fun on the wing there next to his brother as well.
yeah, well, obviously outside Harold, I think he's a natural halfback there, but obviously they've got Kelly there and Mitchell Rains there, so they're the experienced ones. They obviously need him in the team somewhere, so they put him out on the wing, and he's doing a great job out on the wing there. So he's scoring heaps of tries. So that's what wingers do.
Yeah. Well, they needed someone to fill the gap with Ray out, so it was good to see the Mosby stepping up and really provided some strike power for Fassfern on the day. And looking at the IRL ladder, the Goodna Eagles well and truly on the top. They were awarded the Kelly Brennan Shield as minor premiers on Saturday night. Jae, Goodna have been so good this season. What do you think would it take to stop them in the finals?
Mate, it's tough footy, finals time. Someone's going to have to muscle up in the middle and try and grind out a win with them.
Yep.
If you're going to play end-to-end footy, Goodna's going to be all over you. So.
It's a pretty daunting task knowing that you have to be on your game for the full 80 minutes against Goodna, because they'll make you pay pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. They can put on a couple of tries. I think West End seen that in the last 20 minutes of the game. They just turned it on, stepped up another gear and found the try line.
Yeah. For Fassfern, they're quite good at scoring from anywhere on the pitch as well, going tit for tat. Is that going to be a tactic for them if they come against Goodna?
Oh, well, obviously that's where they did rely on Ray and Harold there, but now Scotty Ireland seemed to have taken a little bit more work on now, and he was probably one of their best players last week. Scotty, every time he had the ball, he was dangerous. So they just got to try and hold him in the forwards there, and then unleash the backs. So
yep. Well, it'll be a tough task for anyone who comes up against them. But let's take a look at the QRL, and there were some big scores in the Intrust Super Cup over the weekend as well, with the Redcliffe Dolphins taking a 60-16 win over North Devils at Redcliffe. The Sunshine Coast Falcons had a 36-point win over South Logan Magpies, while Townsville, Wynnum Manly and the Northern Pride also had wins. Unfortunately for the Jets, though, the victory eluded them in Papua New Guinea, going down by 2 points, 18-16, and it took until the final 3 minutes, unfortunately, for that result to go against them, and it would have been the first time PNG would have lost at home this year.
Yeah, well, obviously the Jets beat PNG earlier on in the year there, so they went over there probably full of confidence there, and their form says that they were a chance too. And like I said, 16-all with 3 minutes to go there, and a penalty goal there, unfortunately, cost them the victory over there. Which would have been a great victory for them, would have kept them higher on the ladder. So,
Jay, how much does that loss make their road harder for the finals.
Well, it definitely does. I know they get a week off this week to regroup and start again, but it doesn't get any easier a week later with Redcliffe. So the Jets will have to be on their game. But one bonus is that he gets to play them at home, so hopefully they can.
Is it a blessing to have the bye this week, or would you rather be trying to get some momentum going and playing each week at the moment?
PNG are probably a bit like Goodner. You'd like to have a break after you play them. It's going to be a tough game. So
a few sore bodies.
For sure.
Excellent. Well, on the Intrust Super Cup ladder, the Burleigh Bears still have a hold on the top spot, with Redcliffe Dolphins closing in after their win on the weekend in second place, and unfortunately the Ipswich Jets fall to 9th. And just as we were lauding the fact that they'd made it onto the first screen for our QRL ladder this season, they've slipped back to the second one, unfortunately, but not too far out of the proceedings.
Yeah, well, obviously we'd love to see them on the first page there, and like Jay said, with the bye this week, they get the points, and then probably the most important game is the Redcliffe game, and then they follow that with Tweed at home and then win them away. So they're 2 winnable games. So whether losing to Redcliffe, whether 3 out of 4 and 26 points is going to be enough to get them in there, I'm not sure. So I'm sure they'll probably have to win all 4 of them. So.
And just quickly for your mind, with four rounds to go, would you say Burleigh or Redcliffe would be your tip for taking the honours?
Well, I probably would have said Burleigh there, but obviously I don't know what happened last week. I think they led 24-6 and the Pride run them down at their home ground. But I think Burleigh will be the minor premiers myself.
They've been strong all season. What about you, Jay? You reckon the Dolphins or the Bears?
I've been watching the Dolphins over the last couple of weeks or last month or two, and they've just improved out of sight. I think they're going to be hard to beat.
Yep. Is that a worrying sign for the Jets then next weekend?
Oh, definitely. But if anyone's going to knock them over, Ben and Shane have a few tricks up their sleeve, and I'm sure that the boys will be primed and ready to go, and a good game. If
they can get the win over Redcliffe next weekend, though, I guess it does send a very clear message that they mean business.
Yeah, definitely. Come September, if the Jets are there, you're not going to throw them out the window. They're going to be there knocking on the door, and so they just got to work hard and try and sneak into that 8 and go from there. And we've got one of our ex-Jets as well, a Catewell versus Catewell battle. If Redcliffe come back down to North Ipswich Reserve as well. Yeah, no, obviously the family will be there. I don't know who they'll be supporting, but anyway, just hope it's a good game, and obviously hopefully the Jets win by 1. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, it was a big weekend in the NRL as well, but it was the bunker that stirred up the most controversy. That and more coming up here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80. The NRL Bunker was introduced this year with the promise of improving accuracy, efficiency, consistency and transparency in rugby league matches, but a string of controversial decisions have left fans and commentators up in arms, and referee chief Tony Archer left to back his own team. So is the bunker all it's cracked up to be, or is it cracked?
Well, I think it is a little bit cracked there. Yep. Like when it was brought out, it was obviously the $1 million thing that was going to fix rugby league and all that. For the first part of the season, it probably did that. Yep. Fans were happy with it there. The decisions were made a lot quicker. But now the common sense bit's just been taken out of it all of a sudden. Has some of that come from the fact that instead of having a range of different video referees to kind of poke back at when a decision goes wrong, instead we've got one focal point? Well, the reason why they changed from the video refs, which was about 24 of them there, is to make more consistent ruling. So this referee wasn't different to there. Now we've only got the 2 of them there, but the way they're reading the rule book is just completely wrong sometimes, I feel. Has the obstruction rule really hurt that as well? They say it's consistent, but it's not consistent week in, week out. The one week, if you run behind the player, it's a penalty. The next week, you can get the ball behind the player as long as he doesn't have involvement. So, yeah. What's the solution, though? Do you get more people involved in the bunker, which is exactly the problem that they were trying to avoid by introducing it in the first place? Yeah, it's a hard one. Obviously, we just got to common sense has got to prevail a little more. I think they need to get the
instead of looking for excuses to overturn decisions,
Yep.
let's if we can't see it in 2 or 3 shots, let's go back to what the referee thought in the first place.
Should there be a limit on how many times they can do a replay then?
Yeah, possibly that could be it could be a good answer.
And what about the use of slow motion replays as well? When in certain situations, especially we might have saw one on the weekend as well, where momentum should take a bigger hand in the decisions, and because it's played at a slow motion, it's not factoring in like it should.
Well, I'm sure the super slow-mo, it's probably great technology and all that there, but I'm sure we don't have to keep looking at it. Like rugby league's a fast-paced game and all that there, and to stop the game to try and see something there. You see when they put the ball down, is his hands connected, is this and all that there. So I'm sure that the slow-mo on that could get rid of there. Like the bunker itself, I feel is a good thing.
Yep.
The bunker is a good thing. It's the people inside the bunker making them decisions. So,
It's a tough one to go through. Well, also stirring up some controversy this week was the NRL's Golden Point rule after the Cronulla Sharks' 15-match winning streak was brought to an end by an 18-all draw against the Titans. Both teams failed to score after 10 minutes, so the match was declared a draw, and Sharks captain Paul Gallen, along with a string of commentators, has called for an end to the Golden Point rule. Now, there was also controversy with the bunker in that one, with the Herman SASA try as well, where he was rolling across. And Bomber, you agree with the bunker? You reckon that was a no try?
no, well, I didn't actually say it was a no try. From what Tony Archer said, he said his arm carrying the ball touches the ground and he pushes off his legs to make the momentum. I'm not sure either way. If the ref ruled it a try, I'm happy to give it a try. So.
Also, you've got to take into account that there was two defenders trying to roll him over onto his back, which unfortunately was rolling him into the in goal. Which is he meant to not extend the arm? Because if he doesn't score, he's held up, and it's not his fault. It's the players who's pulled him in. But as soon as he's put the arm over, which was free and not grounded at that point, he's not allowed to do that. I think there's.
Yeah, well, it's 10 metre advantage. If you pull him over and hold him up, he's got to go back 10 metres, whereas. At that try line, so
I couldn't see him running at full speed towards the line like that, and then having to try and push back into play. He's not going to, and he's not going to want to.
Exactly.
So I think as the rule, see, the rule probably says it's a no try, but common sense says it is a try. Like they're saying, if you watch the hand that touches ground and then he goes over and puts it down, as they brought up on another show, they brought up the 3 rules, and by the letter of the law, it's probably no try, but for 99.9% of fans, that's a definite try.
Yeah. So. Moving back onto the Golden Point rule as well, it's been scrapped for the final series. Do you think that's a good move?
Well, I think the Golden Point shouldn't be in at all during the season.
Yep.
A draw's a draw. After 80 minutes, if you can't have a winner, well, it's a draw. Obviously, for semis and grand finals, we need a winner somehow.
Yep.
Even some people say, well, why don't we go like the AFL? If it's a draw, have a replay. But I'm not sure that's going to work. But
Well, Jay, you were down there at Seabus Super Stadium, and I don't think 15,000 fans were too disappointed to see it end in a draw that night.
No, it was a crack of a game. It finished probably where it should have finished, with a draw. The rules went out the window when that extra time starts. Golden Point, there's 6 metres. Guys were going before the ball was even touching the ground. So. Yeah, why do we scrap the rules and go out the window and play a different game of football just because we're in a Golden Point?
Yep.
If they do want to go an extra 10 minutes and with ratings and all the rest of it, they know people are watching the footy. Maybe we do. It's extra time, go 10 minutes.
Yep.
If you want to kick a field goal in the first minute, you got to defend it, don't you? So that might be a better option.
Well, Channel 9 says it spikes their ratings quite high. Do you think it's a matter of money taking precedent over the game?
Yeah, Channel 9 pay the bills, don't they? So if we go to extra time, well, they're going to get the 10 minutes, aren't they? Not just one.
Yep. Well, up next, we'll preview this weekend's IRL and QRL action and take a look at the Jets' path to the finals here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80, and another big weekend in the Intrust Super Cup coming up, with round 22 seeing the top of the table Burleigh Bears taking on the PNG Hunters in Papua New Guinea, and North Queensland battle in Cairns with the Northern Pride taking on the Townsville Blackhawks. What's your pick of the round, boys? There's a fair bit of good matches going on here. I guess the Burleigh Bears first taking on the PNG Hunters third, and the Hunters not having lost a game at home this season sets up a cracker.
Yeah, no, definitely. And North Queensland are going to get up for each other, aren't they? They're up there, so...
Well, the Pride did manage a 1-point win last week. Could they do it against the Townsville Blackhawks?
We'll see.
Excellent. Well, the interesting one for the Jets, I guess, as they sit out the round for the bye, will be watching the Redcliffe Dolphins take on the East Tigers, and hopefully the East Tigers, they're a big pack, and maybe they can touch Redcliffe up a little bit, make them a little bit sore for the next week.
Well, that's what we'll be hoping anyway there. So we're probably not hoping for a Redcliffe loss, actually, because a Redcliffe loss, they're going to come out all fired up the week after. So we're probably hoping for a Redcliffe win in a physical game.
A very physical game. Maybe a bit of a whitewash as well, just so that they have some false confidence coming in.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Well, they probably don't need any false confidence at the moment, do they? They did post 60 points last week. I'm sure they've got plenty of strike power across the pitch.
Yeah, no, we're coming into September shortly, so everyone's going to be hitting their straps, aren't they?
Yep. I suppose for the top six at the moment, it's about solidifying their position up there as well, and for that battle around the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, it's really hotting up.
Yeah, it's very close, and everyone's going to have to be on their games to win each week.
Means everyone's going to be putting in that little bit extra. Games are going to be quite an interesting spectacle for anyone who can get out to the games for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, well, like Jay said, all them teams need to win, so they're all going to be putting in there. And for the other teams, the semis are coming, all them players are going to want to hold their positions there. Like, obviously not the main players, there's fringe players there, so the better you perform now, you're in the semi-final team. So.
Good to hear a couple of the Intrust Super Cup players as well getting some mentions in the NRL, with Javid Bowen announcing that he's got another 2-year contract with the Cowboys, which is fantastic to see, and Cameron Cullen on the weekend as well with the Titans. Good to see the boys up in the top level.
Yeah, it just goes to show that the Queensland Cup is the second best competition going, and the guys are getting their chances, and not only getting their chances, they're playing good football when they do.
And also good to see in the NRL and another level, we've got all 3 Queensland teams in the top 8 as well. That's a fantastic result for the Queensland teams.
I'm not from New South Wales supporter, it's not, but obviously they're...
That's why I was looking at you, Bola.
but obviously they're the form teams there, so so you play the best football, you end up in the high position, so...
Excellent. Well, in round 16 of the IRL, the brothers Ipswich head out to Lowood to take on the Swifts Bluebirds, and the West End Bulldogs are at home to Norths Tigers. And it's end of the brothers' run at home. It's still technically a home game for them, but being out at Lowood is going to change things up for them a bit, being out in the country round.
Oh, well, like I said, they're out in the country, but so are Swifts, so it's not a home game for either team there, so... Swifts need the win because they play Brothers Goodner in the next two rounds. So if they lose to the top 2 teams, it opens up a position for West End, who have to win both their games. So they've got North this week. A win over North will make them need a win over Brothers in the last round to make it there. And obviously North, if they can beat West End this week, and Swifts lose, they'll move into 4th. So there's a lot of games, a lot of...
There's a lot of movement that can still be made in the last few weeks of the competition as well. I guess Brothers, for them, their biggest motivation at the moment is clinching that second spot.
Yeah, well, I think they're going to be second there, so I think Goodner will be top. They'll be second. Fassifern have now qualified for the finals, whether it to be in 3rd or 4th position, but they have qualified. So we've got 3 teams battling for that last spot now.
All top 3 teams won last week. Is it a bit of a danger for Fassifern knowing that they've now made the 4? Would it be a chance for them to drop off in intensity, I guess, knowing that they've already clinched where they want to be?
I'm sure Scotty Island's going to tell them that this is the start of their finals run, and you don't want to be losing games before going into the semis, so they're going to be trying to win as well. So
yep, well, they've been playing off the back of his experience this year, and I'm sure he'll keep that going until the end. That's all we have time for this week, unfortunately. Thanks to Jay and Bomber for joining us on the panel. Follow us more on Facebook for more rugby league news and exclusive clips. Until next week, I'm Ben Wilmott. Good night.